Good morning to Miss Flame. Hi, honey. We're gonna see if we can get on this beastie today. She's like, I don't think so. She's learning patience on the cross ties and that she doesn't have to stick her whole body out. She can just look with her eyes. Huh. So do some groundwork, and I'm gonna see if we can get on her. And just to clarify, I'm not just randomly deciding to get on her. She has done groundwork, lunging. I'm gonna let her get some sillies out because it's also kind of crunchy in here, so we're gonna let her kind of pack that down. But she's done lunging with a saddle. She's done tarp work, which I haven't shown. I've been leaning over her. You obviously have seen the Sur single. So we've been prepping for today. So we're just gonna let her get some sillies out because the other horses are gonna get her all revved up. So we're just gonna let her do her thing, and you guys can see her move a little bit. Go on, hun. You can see she's really not that afraid of me anymore either. Come on, honey. Alright guys, so I decided to change to a voiceover, but this is me just doing groundwork with Flame. Right now I'm just kind of putting the rope over her butt, and I'm going to put it behind her butt and get her to follow a feel and ask her to kind of turn around a little bit. And this will help when actually riding, eventually getting her to, feel the halter and find the release when steering, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do the same thing in this direction, just kind of throw the rope over her back, because eventually that's what my leg will be doing, is kind of going up and over her as well. So again, I kind of go behind her, and when I first started this with her, she was wicked iffy about me touching her butt and putting things behind her butt, so this is a huge step for her. Of course, I haven't recorded a ton of sessions with her because I didn't want to overdo it for you guys and make it boring, so there's a couple missing steps here that you guys unfortunately did not get to see. So this is me just asking her to back up. Again, all stuff that she will eventually do under saddle. I start all my horses bareback and with a halter. And one thing I really want to teach her how to do actually is lay down as well, because she loves to roll. So this is me just starting to kind of ask her to put her head down, which eventually, when I start teaching her how to lay down, she'll need to do. And also asking her to put her head down also kind of lets me figure out where she is emotionally. If she just absolutely will not drop her head, then that usually tells me that she's generally in a more heightened emotional state, and that's usually not where we want to be if it comes to getting on her. So this is me asking her to flex and give to the halter a little bit, which again is another step 1 or step 2 to steering with a halter or bitless, is getting them to respond left and right, pulling on that halter. So that's really all I'm doing here. And it's also good for stretching too, stretching through those neck muscles, and she actually does really well with that. She's really never had too much of a problem giving to the halter. She's always been pretty responsive, thankfully. So here I'm just going to start asking her to lunge a little bit, and she goes, yeah, I don't really want to. But she finally goes out. And I'll just let you kind of watch this a little bit, and we just work on some walk-trot transitions. But I don't really need to talk through all that, so you guys can go ahead and watch it. And this is just her itching. I'm not just like wiggling the rope. She was scratching her side. I decided to skip forward because I basically do the same thing in the opposite direction. And this is me just asking her to lower her head again, just to kind of check her, you know, where she is emotionally. You can tell she kind of hesitates for a minute because everyone's kind of running around and kind of behind the camera, so she was looking. And so she's a little bit more hesitant to put her head down. So I thought this was kind of interesting for you guys to see compared to before, when she was actually pretty willing to put it down. Alright, so now we're kind of up on my little sawhorse here, so I can get up above her and lean up over her and just watch her back end as I'm stroking her side. She kind of thinks about kicking out and then moves away. So I'm like, interesting. She is very protective of her flank and her hind end. And this was a much, I want to say, less reactive reaction than she's given me in the past. Touching that area up over her back, she has turned around and tried to bite me before. So I am going to skip forward because a lot of this session, or I shouldn't say a lot of the session, but a lot of these like next few minutes is me kind of leaning over her and just scratching those areas. So I'll let it play a little bit. But just keep note that that's like her biggest issue as far as mounting and stuff goes. And even, like I said, in this session, she really, besides that one time, she really was very accepting of the whole idea. So here's where she actually, as I started to lean over, wanted to try to bite me. So I decided to make it a positive experience and not get mad at her and discipline her, but actually scratch her face and, more by her shoulder. And she lifts up her head, and I'm like, ooh, what are you going to do? And she tries to bite me again. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to scratch your face, scratch your shoulder, and then decided to go back to the place that was an issue. I'm not going to completely abort mission, but I'm going to try to, scale back and then try again. My goal for this entire session is to make it a very calm and positive experience. At this point, I was going to be happy with just leaning over her and just getting my weight on her. I have sat sideways on her before in her pasture, and she has felt my weight on her, but this was the first session that we have really had a goal to hopefully get on her. But it's one of those things you kind of deal with the horse that shows up that day. And at this point, with the way she kind of kicked out and moved sideways, I was like, okay, we're going to lower the expectations. And she actually surprised me by the end, so keep watching. So I decided to change directions with her because I like to make sure that my horses are able to be mounted and dismounted on both sides. Just because you never know, out on a trail or who knows what, you might have to get on or off your horse in the opposite direction. So any horse I have or start under saddle or retraining, I make sure they are used to things on both sides of their body. You really don't want your horse to be one-sided. So that's all I'm doing here. And here I am just, a minute ago I was just clapping both of my arms along her sides, where my legs would go. And right now I'm just kind of hanging out with her, scratching, and just letting her feel everything. Because I don't want to sneak anything up on her, you know? I'm doing this with her, not to her. So that's all we're doing here. And then finally I kind of decide, all right, we've done enough of that. I've, you know, put both my arms around her. I've basically given her Beryl a big hug. It's time to see what happens. Again, it's slow preparation. Every day that I've worked with her has been a step in this direction. I did not just randomly decide I'm going to get on her. We've done girthing, surf singles, saddles, lunging, tarp, you name it. I've sat on her sideways in her pasture, meaning like I've gotten up on a tall stump and just kind of gone above her. Just you name it, I've done it. And that's what it's about. You want to make sure that your horse is prepared and ready for the situation that you are throwing at them. You do not want to just all of a sudden go, I want to get on my horse today. You want to make sure they're ready for it. So I kind of put my leg half over her and then took it off and then was petting her and just was letting her, like, you know, feel and hear what was happening. Like I was wearing snow pants. So I was going to put my leg over her and then kind of drag it back. And here I am just repositioning because at this point I'm like, all right, let's try and put my full weight on her. So here I'm like pretty much over the center of her back, but I haven't completely taken my foot off the sawhorse yet, which I'll do in a minute. And you can tell she noticed a little bit of a weight change because she looks back like, what you doing? So I don't change anything. I don't all of a sudden take my foot off the sawhorse quite yet. I just stay where I was and I kind of, you know, use my helmet like, you know, as an excuse to kind of move around a little bit, let her feel that. And then when I feel like she's in a good, calm place, I decided to lift my foot off the sawhorse here in a minute. And there you go. And she is now supporting my entire weight. And at this point, I am glowing. I was so excited. I'm so happy with this little mare. And that's just where we ended it. I was super happy with her. I didn't want to ask for anything more. I want to make sure our groundwork is solid, that she fully understands the walk, trot, canter cues before I start asking for anything on top of her that might confuse her. I wanted to end it on a nice, calm note. This is just the calmest she has been and the most accepting she has been to anything that I have put in her direction. So I'm super happy, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Till next time, guys. Bye.